Hello, everyone. What I want to discuss is a couple of subjects here: reincarnation and knowledge of the spirit world that I have memories of before I was born, and just spirituality in general, as far as the good and also the bad. Where I'm going to start, I'm trying not to try too hard, but rather be my natural self. Where I want to start here is my memory before I was born in 1956. I remember there was two elders in medium brown gowns or whatever you call them, robes. Yeah, that's the term used. I'm talking about the visual memory. I'm at a loss for words here because I'm not used to making videos. But I remember before I was born, we were one street from the house that I was born into, and they told me, you do not want to be reborn and live this life because there are better things for you. You are above having to live a earthly physical life. You have achieved more. And I told the elder, but I have to be reborn because there's a woman about a block from here that cries all the time, that's had two daughters, and the doctors tell her she can't have any more children, and her goal is to have a son. And I said, I've got to do this. And that's the last I remember of that episode, but I do remember after that I floated above housetops and went into that house, and I let my entity go into my mother. And I remember before that, living in the spirit world, sometime before I was born, and I do remember part of a past life. Let's start with the past life. I believe it to be in the 1940s because of the surroundings. It was up north, I believe it was in Ohio, to where that I was on the second floor of a duplex, and it had one of those old iron post beds, and there were two men that grabbed me in the middle of the night that were either military or whatever, military police, that they were carrying me away, and I had a wife that was in a white robe that had the ruffles around the neck, and how that she was very upset and crying, and I remember that they carried me away, and that I left a family behind, and I don't know what happened to me after that, because that's where the memory ends, is at that point. So, I was a man in a previous life, and I do remember the 1940s, and when I was born in 1956, when I was only 3 years old, it startled my mom and dad and other people how that I had this incredible automotive knowledge. And so I think I might have been in the automotive field in that previous life, because I do have knowledges of automotive from that era that I was never taught in this life. And I have the same automotive interest in this life, of course. The other thing I'd like to discuss is what it was like in the spirit world between when I was reborn in 1956. I remember it could get boring that I would watch what people would do, or my spirit would just go into a different automobile. I'd see a person in a parking lot get in a car, so I would just get in it just to see where they were going to go, curiosity. and I would follow them in their house or whatever, and you just watch what they did, for something to do. And I remember I got very bored of that because I used to think, golly, I wished I had hands like people and I could do the things that these people could do, but I can't touch things or pick things up like these people would do. That would be so nice if I was able to do this. And I got tired of being in the spirit world. I do remember that I had a job. My job was to try to influence people to choose to do better things and to not fight with each other, for people to want to love each other. It's like it was my mission. And I think that's what the elders were speaking of when I decided to be reborn through my mother, is that, there's better things for you. You don't need to be reborn to live another life. I think that might have been what was being said there. The other thing that people need to understand, I do remember there were very evil entities in the spirit world. Oh, they are there. And some of them are reborn through people, not Satan's demons, which are fallen angels that were thrown out of heaven with Satan. Not those. Those cannot be reborn through him. But there are spirits that are disturbed of people that have passed on before that want to reincarnate, and be reborn, that are very mischievous, bad. And my two sisters in this life, they are very evil people. And they were two of those unclean spirits. And there are bad things. But see, there's also the good. There is Almighty God, and Jesus Christ is very, very real. Very real. And things in the spirit world, they are more real than things in this world. Like the way that you can travel. Like, I could move between, like, let's say Houston, Texas, where I reside now, to a place like Florida. I could do this in 1 minute. It's a matter of thought, but then you see things under you or whatever, and you can also change your size. Like if I wanted to, I could be as small as a hamster. But then I could also enlarge myself to be 50 miles high. You can also be in outer space, for example. But you find out that this is purposeless. It has no value. It's sort of like a kid with a new toy. After you're a spirit for some time, you learn what things matter and what don't. And it's the living you learn to focus on, and what you watch people do, the sad, sad things you watch people do. And you have to learn to adjust your size to the size of people. Because I remember, spirits rest similar to the way humans do. We just sort of shut down mentally, because we're mental just like the living. And I remember when I would wake up, I'd have to readjust my size, because I could be the same size as a skyscraper, and you have to mentally think, and you have to make your size become as the things around you, or you can become so small that you are the size of an insect, for example. Okay, now I'd like to talk about near-death experience. I have passed away 2 times in my life. Okay, from some serious things that have happened to me. And I remember once I was in what I believe to be heaven. In heaven, it has different settings. It's not just one way. People need to realize heaven, the beauties of heaven, is billions of things. Like you can have a golden, beautiful sky, but then you can also have a beautiful, purple, shiny sky. You know, God doesn't limit us, people. But I was there. I've always liked a purple background, and there was a purple background. And I remember I was physically the same way I am now, but I was enhanced. My face was fuller. I didn't have thin hair like I have now. And I remember I loved to sing, and I met Karen Carpenter in heaven. And when I was there, I found out that she was sent here to make people happy. That she brought, and she brought a lot of happiness to a lot of people. People should listen to Karen Carpenter's music because those things are beautiful. And I believe Elvis Presley was a beautiful people. I think God selected some people to make others happy. I honestly do. Because there are different levels of spirituality. Another time I had a near-death experience. I was actually had died for 20 minutes because my ex-wife was on the phone screaming in my face. I woke up like that. She had my mother on the phone, and my mother's crying. Oh no, I don't want to lose my son, you know, and all this. And I remember when I woke up after that 20 minutes, I told my ex-wife, I said, why did you bring me back to life? I was so happy. Now this particular time, I remember there was a beautiful yellowish horizon. And there was people on the other side that were all happy. It was about 40 people, and there was no tunnel. There was just a beautiful landscape, and the ground was like golden, and there was like light around these people, and you could feel the warmth of love coming from these entities, people. I'm not sure if those were angels or people that had were deceased people that had gone on. I don't know. I mean, but it doesn't matter because I know this much. Love is God, and God is love. And if you feel love literally inside you, I'm not talking about assuming love, because, you know, an evil entity can fake what is good. But there are certain kinds of love that cannot be faked, to where you feel it in your heart and you just know it. I also want to touch base on, in 2005, I met Jesus Christ. It was actually before my father passed away in 2005. And what happened, I remember it was in the morning about 9 a.m. Jesus Christ was in my living room in my house, the same one I'm living in now, and I was sitting at my table on my old E-Machines Tower computer just messing around. I felt him, and as soon as I felt Jesus, I remember there was no fear. I wasn't shocked. I wasn't surprised. I just somehow knew it, because probably because I knew him before I was reborn in this life in 56. And I remember I followed him outside to my driveway where one of my cars was sitting, and I automatically I was able to be telepathic. He could speak to me without opening his mouth, and I could talk to him without opening my mouth. And I remember there were two angels standing behind him that their eyes focused directly on him. He was about 7 feet tall. he wasn't like portraits that are painted of him at all. No, 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 no. He may have had a beard in the times he walked the earth over 2,000 years ago based on the conditions. But then, see, you have to figure that wasn't by choice. It was based on circumstances. But when I met him, he didn't have a beard. And his hair was wavy. It was like light brown and went down just before the shoulders. And there was no beard. The face was smooth. No hair on the face. Blue eyes, very beautiful. And I remember the garment he was wearing, the cuffs were like this purplish blue. And it was like spun light, most beautiful thing I had ever seen. And anyway, I could see in his eyes all love, and I saw something that's hard to describe with words. That all the love is also all the power. Because I saw in his eyes how that all the military in the world, all police, law enforcement, he could make them seize with just a glance. That kind of power exists. And I've had total trust ever since then. Those are the only things I know of right now to touch base on. But what people need to do, my advice, you know, I have lived a full life. I am by no means a naive person. So I am not a sheltered person that is naive and believes what the town preacher said. No, 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 no. I'm a person, I've been around. I've been around the block once, twice, times 20. But what I have learned about this life, first off, you reap what you sow. If you do negative, negative will attract to you. It is that simple. If you have good intentions and you do positive things will also happen to you. And B, do not do anything knowingly if it is negative. Because if you do something wrong, if you take revenge on a person, for example, bad things are going to come back unto you. Because vengeance is God's. It is not a person's to ever take on to themselves. Do positive things, you will get positive results. If you do negative things, you will get negative results. And realize there is a Satan and there is demons. There's millions and millions of demons. Because, when Satan and his followers were cast out of heaven, it's my belief it was third of the angels. That could be in the volume of billions. So those things are around. And if you think negative and you do negative, those things will envelop around you. They will encircle around you. If you deny influential thoughts when you are angry at people, if you deny those things, and you go to God with it and say, Jesus Christ, I need your help, Father. Okay, what will happen in turn? See, this will drive them away because they're not accomplishing anything. And the intent of Satan and his demons are to kill, steal, destroy. That is their total intent. It's nothing more, it's nothing less. Kill, steal, and destroy. Okay, look up the definition of those three things. Okay, other than that, may God bless all of you. And remember, be nice. Be nice. Okay? And nice things will happen to you. Now, I need to look for the off button. Because like I said, I'm not used to making videos. Okay.